So, what if the government offered a 401k style plan to pretty much every worker who doesn't already have one? It's a huge idea, right? Well, a new proposal is trying to tackle one of the biggest challenges out there, the retirement savings gap. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what this plan is, who it's really designed to help, and yeah, who it might just leave behind. Let's just start with a number 56 million. Just let that sink in for a second. That is how many Americans right now don't have an employer-sponsored retirement plan. That means no automatic savings, and this is the big one, no employer match to help boost their nest egg. And look, this isn't just some dry statistic. People are calling it a gross disparity in our country's entire retirement system. When you frame the problem like that, as a real issue of fairness and access, that's exactly why this new solution is even on the table. Okay, so that brings us right to our first section. Really understanding this 56 million gap. This is the core problem, the big why that this whole government proposal is trying to solve. This really gets to the heart of it. It's not just about not having a savings account. It's about missing out on those matching contributions. I mean, that's basically free money that just dramatically speeds up your savings. And for millions of people, this key tool for building wealth is completely out of reach. So what's the big idea to fix this? Well, in a nutshell, it's a government-run 401k. And you know what? The idea isn't coming out of thin air. It's actually modeled on a system that's already been up and running successfully for years. And that model is the Thrift Savings Plan. You might have heard of it as the TSP. This is the retirement plan for federal employees, and it's famous for two things: being incredibly simple and having really, really low fees. So the proposal is basically to take this proven framework and just open it up to a much, much wider audience. Okay, so how would it actually work? This breaks it down really nicely. First, it's targeted specifically at eligible low-income workers. Second, the government would provide a 50% match on what you put in. So think about it. If you save $2,000, the government just adds another $1,000. Pretty great, right? Now, that match is capped at $1,000 a year. And finally, you'd get access to simple, low-fee stock and bond funds, just like the ones in the federal TSP. All right, now that the mechanics are clear, the big question is, who really comes out on top with a plan like this? Let's take a look at the potential winners. The two groups that really stand to gain the most here are gig workers and employees at small businesses. I mean, these are the exact people who so often fall through the cracks of the traditional 401k system, either because they're independent contractors or maybe their employer just can't afford to offer a plan. The real magic for these groups, it comes down to two things: simplicity and cost. High fees and really complex plans are huge hurdles that just stop people from investing. This model, with its rock-bottom fees and super straightforward structure, would just get rid of those obstacles for millions. But, as always, no plan is perfect. To really get the full picture, we've got to look at the other side of the coin. What are the downsides, and who might not benefit quite as much? This comparison gives us a fantastic at-a-glance summary. On one side, you've got our winners: gig workers, small business employees. But over on the other side, we see two groups that could be negatively impacted: the big brokerage firms and, maybe surprisingly, older workers who are getting close to retirement. Let's talk about the industry impact for a second. If the government comes in and offers a simple, super low-cost retirement plan, well, that's direct competition for the big mass brokerage firms, the companies that serve everyday investors. They could lose out on that whole pipeline of entry-level clients, which might just force them to lower their own fees to stay in the game. Okay, but what about those older workers? This part seems a little counterintuitive. I mean, if you're close to retirement and you haven't saved a lot, shouldn't any help be good help? Well, the answer really comes down to the fundamental math of investing. The reason is all about the power of compound growth, which this chart shows perfectly. A little bit of money invested for 30 years grows way, way more than the same amount invested for just 5 years. Time is really the most powerful ingredient in the whole retirement savings recipe. So for someone who is only, say, 5 or 10 years away from retiring, there just isn't enough time for that compounding magic to really happen. Even with a government match, getting access to an account this late in the game probably won't, as one analyst put it, move the needle much. So where does all this leave us? Let's pull all these different threads together and just look at what this proposal really represents as a potential new model for retirement. All right, let's do a super quick recap. We started with the problem, this massive retirement gap affecting 56 million people. The solution on the table? A simple, government-backed plan with the generous match. This would be a huge win for gig workers and people at small businesses. But its biggest limitation is that it's a long-term fix, so it offers less help to those who are already close to retirement age. And that brings us to our final question. This proposal, it targets a very specific group, but it really makes you think about a much bigger idea. Is a simple, low-cost, government-backed savings plan the future of retirement for a much, much broader slice of the population? And that is the thought I will leave you with. Thanks for tuning in.